Sylvester Stallone, the Hollywood icon who's played the ultimate underdogs and family warriors. Joy Behar, the daytime talk titan, famous for her sharp wit and bold opinions. The topic? Should grandparents have more legal rights when it comes to their grandchildren? Stallone says yes, grandparents are lifelines who deserve a legal voice. Joy says no, warning it could unleash a storm of courtroom chaos and family conflict. What happens when love, law, and generational values collide on live television? Buckle up, because this one got emotional fast. The audience roared as Sylvester Stallone strode onto the view stage, smiling warmly, waving to the crowd. Dressed in a dark suit, he looked less like the hard-nosed Rocky Balboa and more like a wise elder statesman. "Welcome, Sylvester," Whoopi Goldberg said, hugging him. "Always a pleasure having you here." He grinned. "It's great to be back, Whoopi. You know, I love being here. This table's like family. Well, a loud family." The audience laughed. Whoopi continued, "We're tackling a big question today, one you've been very vocal about recently. Should grandparents have more legal rights when it comes to their grandkids? What's your take?" Stallone's smile softened into something heartfelt. "Look, I've lived a long life. I've seen families fall apart, kids caught in the middle, and I've seen grandparents, people who love those kids more than life itself, get shut out because of legal technicalities. That's wrong. Grandparents deserve a voice." Joy Behar raised an eyebrow. "A voice is one thing, Sylvester, but legal rights? That's a slippery slope. Parents are parents for a reason. Shouldn't they decide who sees their kids?" The room grew quieter, tension building already. Stallone nodded respectfully, but countered, "Yeah, but what if the parents are unfit or gone or struggling? Grandparents have experience, stability. They can be a safety net." Joy leaned forward. "And what about when parents and grandparents disagree? You're inviting lawsuits into family life. That's not love, that's litigation." Anna Navarro tried to mediate. "This is going to be interesting." The audience murmured, already sensing this was going to explode. Whoopi gave the floor back to Stallone. "You've talked publicly about your own grandparents, right?" Stallone's face turned nostalgic. "Yeah, when I was young, things were rough at home. My grandparents stepped up. They were the ones making sure we had meals, discipline, love. Without them, I don't know where I'd be." A soft awe rippled through the audience. Joy wasn't moved. "That's your story, Sylvester, and I respect it. But laws can't be based on personal stories. Every family's different." Stallone leaned forward. "But the point is, grandparents save kids sometimes. Shouldn't we have laws that recognize that?" Joy crossed her arms. "And what happens when those same grandparents sue parents because they don't like how their grandkids are being raised? We're talking endless custody battles. Courts already struggle with family disputes, and now you want to give grandparents standing in every conflict? That's chaos." Stallone shook his head. "You're focusing on the bad apples. Most grandparents aren't looking to steal kids away. They just don't want to be cut off. Love doesn't equal rights, Sylvester." Joy snapped back. "Love doesn't equal rights, Sylvester. Parents have to make tough choices sometimes, and you're saying grandparents should have the power to override them? No thanks." The audience reacted loudly, some clapping for Joy, others booing slightly. Social media already started buzzing with hashtags, #TeamStallone and #TeamJoy. Whoopi gestured to an audience member who had raised her hand. "We have people here with lived experiences. Ma'am, you wanted to share?" A woman stood, voice trembling.
My parents practically raised my daughter when I had to work 2 jobs. If they hadn't been there, she would have ended up in foster care. But when I got divorced, my ex-husband cut them off completely. They haven't seen her in 2 years, and there's nothing they can do legally. The room fell silent. Stallone looked at Joy. See, this is what I'm talking about. These people gave their hearts, their time, their lives, and then one person can just slam a door on them? Joy frowned but stayed firm. I feel for you, ma'am, truly, but laws like what Sylvester is suggesting mean courts would have to intervene every time there's a family disagreement. That's not healthy either. Families need to solve their problems, not outsource them to judges. Stallone's voice rose. What if families can't solve it? What if the grandparents are the only stability those kids know? We can't leave children stranded because we're afraid of a few court cases. Joy gestured emphatically. And what about abusive grandparents? Should they get equal rights too? You're painting this like it's always rosy. That triggered Stallone. Nobody's saying all grandparents should automatically have custody. But when they're loving, safe, stable, yes, they deserve legal standing. Kids need love, not bureaucracy. Audience erupted with applause for Stallone, some booing Joy. The energy in the room shifted. This was no longer a casual debate. It was personal, raw.
Joy's voice sharpened. Sylvester, with all due respect, you're talking like someone who's never seen the ugly side of this. I have friends who went through nightmare lawsuits because of overreaching grandparents. It destroyed their families. Stallone fired back. I have seen the ugly side, and I've also seen kids rescued because of grandparents. We can't throw out good because we're scared of bad situations. Joy leaned in. You're a movie star, Sylvester. You don't have to deal with what ordinary people go through in courtrooms every day. Stallone's face hardened. You think I don't understand regular people? I grew up broke. I've seen struggle. This isn't Hollywood, it's life. And I'm saying the system ignores people who love their grandkids enough to fight for them. Audience clapped, some shouting, "That's right!" Whoopi muttered, "Oh boy, we're going there." Anna Navarro tried again. Maybe there's a middle ground. Joy waved her off. Middle ground means nothing if it's still government interference in family decisions. Stallone slammed his calm lightly on the table. It's justice, Joy, not interference. Justice for people who raised their grandkids when no one else would. The studio erupted. Security subtly repositioning closer to the stage. Whoopi attempted to regain control of the table. Okay, let's pull back for a second. Sylvester, you keep bringing up values, and Joy, you're focused on autonomy. What does this really come down to? Stallone folded his hands. Family values, Whoopi. We live in a world where families are breaking apart. Grandparents are often the last thread holding people together. They pass on traditions, teach discipline, and provide emotional support. The law should respect that role, not treat grandparents like strangers. Joy shook her head sharply. I love grandparents. Heck, I'm one. But giving them legal power over parental decisions, that's a line we shouldn't cross. Parents have to be able to raise their kids how they see fit without fear of lawsuits from their own parents. Stallone leaned in. So what happens when those parents are gone or strung out or simply can't handle it? You're telling me grandparents should just stand there helpless? Joy fired back. There are already systems in place. Foster care, child protective services. We don't need to create a whole new legal battlefield. Anna Navarro cautiously chimed in. But Joy, sometimes foster care places kids with strangers when grandparents are willing to step in. Isn't that worth considering? Joy sighed. Sure, but make it case by case, not blanket legal rights. We can't legislate every family fight into the courtroom. Stallone clenched his jaw. It's not about dragging every fight into court, Joy. It's about giving kids a chance to stay with people who already love them instead of strangers. The audience responded with a roar of applause. Joy smirked, unconvinced, but clearly feeling the tide of emotion building against her. Joy decided to go in hard. Okay, Sylvester, answer this. What about abusive grandparents? You give them legal rights, and suddenly parents are forced to fight toxic relationships in court. Where does it end? Stallone's voice dropped to a deep, almost growling tone. Nobody supports abuse, Joy. I'm talking about loving, supportive grandparents. My friend's kid was in a dangerous home, and the grandparents took him in, gave him safety. Without them, who knows what would have happened? Joy countered. Extreme cases shouldn't define all laws. Stallone pointed at her. Extreme cases are the ones where laws matter most, Joy. When people are desperate, when kids need saving. That's when having grandparents with legal standing can be the difference between life and trauma. The audience applauded loudly. Joy, unwilling to concede, but giving a blanket legal right opens Pandora's box. You'll have bitter custody wars multiplying by 10. Stallone slammed the table lightly again. And what's worse, messy legal fights or kids suffering because no one fought for them? I'll take the fight any day. Whoopi tried to intervene. Let's take a breath. But Stallone turned toward Joy, voice shaking slightly with emotion. Look, I'm a grandfather. I know what it feels like to hold those little hands and see a future. You'd do anything to protect them. That's what I'm talking about. Love, responsibility, not chaos. Joy softened for a beat, but quickly recovered. Sylvester, we all love our grandkids. That doesn't mean we need new laws to tell parents how to run their families. Audience reaction split again. Applause, murmurs, even one shouted, "Let him finish!" Security subtly moved closer as the atmosphere thickened. When the show cut to commercial, things didn't calm down. Audience members later reported hearing Stallone mutter, "She's missing the point entirely." Joy, adjusting her microphone, responded coldly, "And you're ignoring reality, Sylvester. Not every grandparent is Rocky Balboa." Stallone stood up, pacing slightly behind the table, visibly frustrated. "This isn't about me, Joy. This is about families, about love that lasts longer than court orders." A producer rushed in. "Guys, take it down a notch. We're back in 60 seconds. Anna Navarro leaned over to Joy. "Maybe don't poke him too hard, okay? He's genuinely emotional." Joy shrugged. "I'm just doing my job." Audience members tweeted furiously. Stallone legit mad at Joy during the break. You could cut the tension with a knife. Security is closer than usual. This is gonna blow when they come back.
Whoopi opened after the break, trying to reset the tone. "Okay, welcome back. Things got heated, but that's because this topic matters." Stallone, still visibly emotional, took a deep breath. "Look, Joy, I get it. You're worried about abuse of the system. I don't want that either. But too many good grandparents are shut out of their grandkids' lives for reasons that have nothing to do with safety. That's what needs fixing." Joy crossed her arms, but softened slightly. "I know there are good grandparents. I've seen friends raised by theirs. But laws can't assume every situation is good." Anna smiled. "So maybe the solution is more specific. A law that prioritizes grandparents but still protects kids from bad situations?" Stallone nodded. "Exactly. We need nuance, not just saying no." Joy let out a reluctant sigh. "Fine, nuance. I'll give you that. but you still haven't convinced me we need sweeping legal changes." The audience clapped, appreciating at least a temporary softening of the battle lines.
Within hours, social media was ablaze. Team Stallone trended #1 as clips of him pounding the table and saying, "Love shouldn't require permission slips," racked up millions of views. Team Joy trended #2, with people praising her for protecting parental autonomy. TikTok edits circulated. One dramatic clip of Stallone standing and pacing during the commercial break went viral with captions like, "He's really fighting for this." Cable news picked it up that evening. Conservative outlets praised Stallone's passion. Hollywood star defends family values. Progressive outlets defended Joy. Parental rights must stay strong. Celebrities weighed in. A country singer tweeted, "Stallone's right. Grandparents are the backbone of America." A family law attorney posted, "Joy's caution is valid, but we need reform." The View posted its own clip to YouTube where it gained millions of views overnight, with comments like, "This is why live TV is gold," and "Stallone for president?"
In the final moments, Whoopi turned back to Stallone. "You've been passionate today. Why does this hit you so hard?" Stallone's voice cracked slightly. "Because I've seen too many kids lost in the system. Grandparents can be heroes, and yet they're often treated like outsiders. I don't want my grandkids, or anyone's, to grow up wondering why people who love them can't be there." Joy actually placed a hand on his arm. "I know you mean well, Sylvester, and I respect that. I just think laws need to be careful. Families are complicated." For a brief moment, the tension melted. The audience stood, applauding both for their honesty and emotion. This wasn't just a celebrity clash. It was about love, loyalty, and what it means to be family in today's world. Stallone's fight for grandparents touched millions, highlighting how elder family members often hold families together. Joy's warning about unintended consequences reminded us that even good intentions need careful boundaries. In the end, no one really won, but millions of viewers left reflecting on their own families, their parents, their children, and their grandparents. Who do you think was right? Should grandparents have more legal rights? Or should parents remain the final authority? If you love explosive celebrity debates and heartfelt moments like this, hit subscribe, because the next clash might be even bigger.
Again, this story is a work of fan-based fiction inspired by publicly available information and general social media discussions. It is created purely for entertainment purposes and does not depict any actual events or real conversations. There is no evidence that the events, dialogues, or situations described ever occurred in reality.